The storm rolled over Bear Valley with a force that made even seasoned trappers hurry indoors. But the stagecoach kept pushing through the swirling snow until its wheels hit frozen ruts outside Pine Hollow's trading post. Before the driver could climb down, the door burst open and a woman tumbled onto the icy ground. Her dress was torn in several places. Her cheeks were swollen. Dried blood streaked the side of her face. The crowd inside the post froze as the woman coughed, tried to speak, then collapsed in a heap. Her name was Lily Turner, though no one there knew it yet. She had traveled over 1,000 miles from Missouri, answering a mail-order advertisement from a man named Victor Cain. She had dreamed of a new beginning. Instead, she had lived through 4 days of terror. 4 days of fist threats and drunken rage. 4 days of believing she might not survive long enough to see another sunrise. "Somebody help her," the driver called out. "She needs a doctor." Men shuffled forward, but no one touched her. Some stared with concern, others with something sharper, something hungry. She was alone, broken, and clearly running from something. The kind of woman who rarely found safety on the frontier. A tall man stepped out from the shadows near the woodpile. Snow clung to his fur-lined coat, and his boots looked as if he had walked straight out of the mountains. His beard was trim but rough, and his eyes were a clear, cold blue that missed nothing. He carried a long rifle in one hand and a hatchet at his belt. His presence made the crowd shift aside, without him saying a word. That man was Jonah Callahan. Most folks in Pine Hollow had only heard stories about him. Some said he lived alone in a cabin deep in the Rockies. Some said he was dangerous. Others swore he had once been a soldier who'd come home changed, quieter than a man should be. But every person in the settlement agreed on one thing. Jonah Callahan didn't get involved in other people's problems. Until today. He knelt beside Lily, brushing snow away for her face. She flinched at the touch, her eyes snapping open in fear. "Please," she whispered, "don't hurt me." Her voice cracked like something fragile breaking in the cold air. Jonah's jaw tightened. He looked up at the crowd, his voice calm but edged with steel. "Whose woman is this?" The driver stepped forward. "She ain't nobody's. Her husband put her on my stage down in Fort Bridger. Told me she wasn't his problem anymore." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Everyone understood what that meant. A woman cast aside like that had no protection, no rights, no home. She was prey in a land full of predators. Jonah stood slowly, his rifle resting easily in his hand. "What's her name?" "Lily," she whispered, wincing as she tried to sit up. "Lily Turner." A man from the saloon door spoke up. "Well, Miss Turner, if you're in need of—" "Stay where you are." Jonah cut in without raising his voice. The man froze. Jonah didn't glare, didn't posture, didn't threaten. He simply stood with silent strength that made others rethink their intentions. He reached down and helped Lily to her feet with careful hands. "You're coming with me." Lily blinked in confusion. "I don't understand." "Why?" "Because you need shelter," Jonah said. "And I've got a cabin that needs tending. That's all." The honesty in his voice made her chest tighten. She had been judged, beaten, thrown away. This stranger offered safety without asking for anything in return. Before she could answer, another voice rang out. "You can't just take her." It came from Clay Maddox, the owner of a saloon. He stepped forward, hands on his belt, a smug grin spreading across his face. "She's not your property, Callahan. A woman like that needs work, and I've got plenty. She'd earn good money in my place." Lily's stomach twisted. She had seen the saloon when the stage passed. She knew exactly what kind of work he meant. Jonah didn't move, didn't blink. "The lady has a choice," he said quietly, "and she's choosing me." His eyes met Lily's, calm and steady. "Ain't forcing you. Say the word and I'll walk away." For the first time since leaving Missouri, Lily felt control return to her trembling hands. She lifted her chin, bruised and swollen as it was. "I'll go with you." Clay's face darkened. "Callahan, you're making a mistake. Women like her bring trouble." Jonah finally looked at him, and the cold in his eyes made several men step back. "I've lived through worse trouble." He guided Lily toward the mule hitched outside the post. She winced with each step, pain radiating through her ribs. But Jonah steadied her carefully. "Can you ride?" he asked. "I can try." Trying is enough. As he helped her onto the saddle, she watched the snow drift through the pines. She felt fear, yes, but also something else, a small spark of hope. Jonah mounted his own mule and took the lead rope of hers. "You're safe now," he said simply. Lily wasn't sure she believed it yet, but as they headed toward the dark line of the forest, leaving the settlement and its staring eyes behind, she found herself breathing a little easier. For the first time, she wondered if her story wasn't ending at all. Maybe it was just beginning. The snow fell in slow, heavy flakes as Jonah led the mules up the narrow mountain trail. Lily clung to the saddle horn, fighting the waves of pain that came with every jolt. Her ribs burned. Her jaw throbbed. Her eye felt swollen shut. But she stayed silent, not wanting to show weakness after everything she had survived. Jonah rode ahead just enough to break the wind for her. Every few minutes, he glanced back, checking if she was still upright. His voice stayed calm and steady. "If you get cold, say so." "I'm fine," Lily whispered, though her hands trembled on the reins. Jonah didn't argue. "We'll be there soon." The trail climbed higher until the land opened into a quiet clearing. A log cabin stood nestled between tall pines, smoke drifting from its chimney. A small barn sat beside it with a corral enclosing 2 horses and a mule. The place looked sturdy and lived in. Not fancy, but cared for. Jonah climbed down and approached Lily's mule. His hands were gentle as he helped her dismount. "You're safe here," he said again, as if repeating the words could make them true. The moment her feet touched the ground, Lily nearly collapsed. Jonah caught her before she fell, steadying her with surprising gentleness for a man built like a mountain. "Easy," he murmured. "You've had a rough stretch." She almost laughed at the understatement. He guided her inside the cabin. The warmth hit her first, then the smell of pine logs and something cooking in an iron pot over the fire. The room was simple: a stone hearth, a sturdy table, shelves lined with supplies, and a thick bearskin rug near the fire. "You sit," Jonah said, pulling out a chair for her. Lily lowered herself carefully, wincing as pain shot through her side. Jonah set his hat down and knelt in front of her, his expression serious but not unkind. "Tell me what happened." Lily wrapped her arms around herself as if trying to hold her shaking body still. She wasn't sure she could speak the truth out loud, but she also knew this man deserved honesty. "I answered a mail-order advertisement," she began. "Victor Cain wrote that he wanted a wife. He spoke kindly in his letters. Promise a home, a quiet life, respect." Jonah's jaw tightened slightly. "When I arrived, he wasn't a man he pretended to be. He drank. He lied. He hit." Her voice broke, and she looked away. "The second night, he said he bought me so he could do as he pleased." Jonah didn't ask her to finish. He didn't push. He simply said, "No one owns you." The words shook her. "He threw me onto a freight wagon when he was done. Said he'd find me if I ever came back." Jonah's hands curled into fists resting on his knees, but his voice stayed low. "He won't find you here. And no one in Pine Hollow will bother you as long as you're under my roof." Lily nodded slowly, her eyes stinging with tears she didn't want him to see. Jonah stood and ladled stew into a bowl. "Eat. It'll help." When he set the bowl in front of her, Lily stared at the steam rising from it. For days with Victor had taught her that meals came with conditions, questions, demands, violence if she hesitated. Jonah took the seat across from her and began eating from his own bowl without watching her. No pressure, no expectation, just quiet. That alone nearly brought her to tears. She forced a few bites down. The warm food eased a tight knot in her stomach, though each movement made her ribs ache. After a while, Jonah said, "There's a spare room on the far side. Used to be my sister's when she visited. Has its own door. You can lock it from inside." Lily stiffened, unsure she heard correctly. "A separate room?" "Yes, locked from the inside." Jonah repeated, "It's yours for as long as you're here." Lily swallowed hard. Safety was something she had forgotten how to feel. To be offered it so simply made her throat close. "Thank you," she whispered. Jonah nodded once, as if the matter was settled. After she finished the meal, he brought out a small wooden box filled with salves and bandages. "We'll get you patched up." Lily tensed. "I don't want to trouble you." "You're not trouble," Jonah said. "Tilt your head." His hands were warm, steady as he dabbed her bruised cheek with salve. Every touch was careful, respectful. Nothing like Victor's cruel hands. Jonah worked with the patience of someone who understood pain and didn't want to add to it. "You've got cracked ribs," he said quietly. "You'll need time." She nodded. He tied the bandage with gentle fingers. "This place is quiet. No one comes up here without reason. You rest. I'll handle the chores until you're steady on your feet." "You don't even know me," Lily whispered. Jonah paused, meeting her eyes. "I know what fear looks like, and I know what someone looks like when they're trying their hardest to survive." Lily looked down at her folded hands. "I don't know what happens next." "You don't have to," Jonah said. "Not today. Today you heal." He rose and stepped back, giving her space. But before he could say more, the dog outside began barking. A fast, sharp warning. Jonah moved to the window, rifle already in hand. "What is it?" Lily asked, fear tightening her chest. Jonah's voice turned low and cold. "Riders." She froze. "3 of them," he added. "And I don't like the look of it." Lily gripped the table. "You think they're here for me?" Jonah didn't answer at first. Then he looked back at her with steady certainty. "They won't take you. Not while I'm alive." And as the riders approached through the falling snow, Lily realized the real danger was only beginning. Snow drifted sideways as the 3 riders came into view. Their coats were dusted white, their horses steaming in the cold air. They stopped just outside the cabin fence line. One man sat tall in the saddle with a dark coat, broad shoulders, and a cruel tilt to a smile. Lily's breath caught. She didn't know his name, but she recognized the type. The kind of man Victor Cain drank with, the kind who believed fear was a form of currency. Jonah stepped outside without hesitation, rifle resting calm across his forearm. He didn't yell. He didn't show fear. He simply stood his ground like a mountain, refusing to move. "What brings you up here?" he asked. The lead rider's grin widened. "We're looking for a woman. Small thing. Brown hair. Bruised up. Name's Lily Turner." Inside the cabin, Lily froze. "So she is alive," the rider continued with a smirk. "Victor Cain's been tearing up half the territory, looking for her. Says she ran off with his property." Behind Jonah, the wind howled through the pines. He didn't blink. "There's no property here. Only people." The second rider spat into the snow. "Listen, Callahan, we don't want trouble. Just hand her over. Cain says she owes him money." "She owes him nothing," Jonah said. The first rider shrugged. "Maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But Cain wants her back, and he's paying good money. Now step aside." Jonah lifted his rifle, not pointing it, just shifting it into clear view. "You ride any closer, I'll take that as a threat." The 3 riders stiffened. Even through the storm, Lily saw it. The silent battle of wills between Jonah Callahan and the man who'd come to claim her. The leader leaned forward in his saddle, his grin fading. "You think you can stand against all of Cain's men?" "I've stood against worse," Jonah said quietly. "And I'm still here." The rider's expression darkened. "We'll be back, Callahan. Cain doesn't take kindly to thieves." Jonah's voice dropped even lower. "Then tell him this. The woman he laid hands on, she's done running. And if he comes up this mountain, he won't walk back down." A long, cold silence followed. Then the riders turned their horses, retreating into the swirling snow. Their shapes vanished in the storm like ghosts fading into white. Jonah didn't move until the last hoofbeat faded. Only then did he step inside, closing the door behind him. His coat was wet with snow, his shoulders tense. Lily stood by the table, her hands shaking. "They're coming back," she whispered. "Maybe," Jonah admitted. "Men like Cain don't give up easy." He set his rifle beside the door and faced her. "But you're not alone in this." Lily lowered her eyes. You could get hurt because of me. I've lived a long time without anything worth fighting for, he said softly. I won't walk away now. Her throat tightened. She never asked for a protector. She never expected anyone to stand between her and danger again. But Jonah wasn't doing this out of duty. He was doing it out of something deeper, a warmth she hardly recognized. That night, they kept the lanterns low. Jonah stayed awake, sitting near the door with his rifle leaning against his knee. Lily tried to sleep in the spare room, but fear pressed against her chest like a heavy stone. She couldn't stop hearing Cain's name whispered in the wind. Near midnight, she stepped quietly into the main room. Jonah looked up, eyes softening. "Can't sleep?" he asked. She shook her head. He motioned for her to sit by the fire. "Storm's too thick for them to ride tonight. You're safer now." Lily stared into the flames. After a long moment, she whispered, "Why are you doing this for me? You don't owe me anything." Jonah let the silence settle before speaking. "Before the war, I had a little sister named Ruth," he said. "Sweet as spring rain. We lost our parents young, so I raised her best I could. She married a man I didn't trust, but she said he was changed, said he'd treat her right." Lily swallowed hard. "He didn't, and I wasn't there when she needed me most." His voice grew rough. "I live with that every day." Winter passed slowly. The riders didn't return. Cain never came. Maybe the storm changed their minds. Maybe Jonah's warning had been enough. Whatever the reason, Lily and Jonah fell into a rhythm of shared work, quiet evenings, and gentle healing. By spring, Lily's bruises had faded. Her ribs no longer burned when she breathed. The nightmares came less often. Jonah built her a small garden near the cabin. "Fresh food will do you good," he said. He didn't say it out loud, but Lily saw it in his eyes. He hoped she would stay. One warm afternoon, while the mountains glowed gold in the sun, Lily found Jonah repairing the fence. She walked up quietly, her hands twisting together. "Jonah," she said, "I need to tell you something." He removed his gloves, dusting off his hands. "What's on your mind?" Lily took a breath. "When I came here, I didn't think I would survive another week. I thought my story was ending. But you gave me a chance to start over." Jonah's gaze softened. "You did the hard part, Lily. You fought your way back." "I didn't do it alone," she said. "You saved me." Jonah stepped closer. "I only gave you a place to heal. The rest was you." Her voice trembled. "I'm not afraid anymore. Not like before. And I don't want to leave this place." He studied her face quietly. "Lily," he said, "you don't have to leave unless you want to." She shook her head. "I want to stay. Not just in the cabin. With you. If you'll have me." Jonah reached for her hands, rough palms warm against her fingers. "I've been yours from the moment you fell in the snow outside Pine Hollow," he said. "I just didn't know if you were ready." Lily looked up at him, tears shining in her eyes. "I'm ready now." Jonah pulled her gently into his arms. His embrace was steady, protective, and full of a kind of love she had never known. A love born not from possession, but from devotion, respect, healing. Months later, they married in a small ceremony beneath the tall pines. Just a handful of neighbors. Simple vows. Honest promises. When Jonah kissed her, Lily felt the last of her fear melt away. The mountains around them stood tall and strong, just like the man who had offered her safety when she had nothing left. And Lily Turner, no longer bruised, no longer broken, felt something new bloom inside her, a life remade, a home.